Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another game theory video. I feel like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. Again, this game doesn't even have a training mode, so getting the clips does actually take a little bit of time. I appreciate it when you donate or support the channel in some way. And today's topic is going to be, again, why CVS1 is a better game than you probably remember. And we're going to talk about Supers specifically, and I'm going to do a commentary on some of that. But before I start, I want to show this example. And actually, did you know I was going back and looking on old forums and everything for these? Because people probably don't want to admit it, but a lot of these old games were actually explained by me. And did you know, this is going to tickle you a little bit. I was going back and looking at old Street Fighter posts when I was explaining how games worked, and Desk was in the threads. Desk. I can't believe that. I was teaching the games to Desk and I didn't even realize it. That's fucking insane. But that just goes to show when I was teaching all these games, Desk wasn't even a known person. Like, Desk is in these threads where I'm explaining games. That's fucking crazy. My mind was blown while I was looking through old stuff. But I digress. And again, before we get to the exact super topic, I saw someone posting about this again, and I guess maybe they're a hater of mine, so they don't want to watch my video, but I'm gonna show it again. They're like, why can Guile go through like a fireball sometimes on wake up? Well, like I said, the reversals in this game are a little bit janky, right? And they are seemingly a little bit easier when you do normals, right? So if we're thinking like Guile's hitbox in this game, or hurt box, is probably like his tummy, right? Like the back of his butt probably doesn't have a hitbox, right? And doing normals as a reversal is a little bit, you know what I mean? So if it's at the back, if an attack can only hit him in the buttocks, because the step kick has such momentum in this game, it's easier to reversal normal, let's say, through something like a fireball, right? Anyway, topic of today's video. Why CVS1 is a better game than you remember, right? And I want to focus on specifically, let's talk about the supers in the game. And I think at maybe face value, if someone talks about the supers in the game, their first thought might be something like the Yori wine trap super or something like that. Or something like the fact that so many level ones juggled, right? But just from hearing that, you have to remember, not all level ones juggle. And I want to show you how the super system in this game is, again, better than you would think. To display this, we're gonna mainly focus on Ryu and Ken for this video, but we'll do a couple others too, right? So what are Ryu's supers in this game? Super Fireball. What does a Super Fireball do? A level 3, that's not very damaging for a level 3, is it? That's not too damaging, but what does a Super Fireball do? It can go through fireballs. It can hit from farther away. That would mean it has a pretty versatile use, right? Super Hurricane Kick, I think we know what a Super Hurricane Kick is. More damage than a super fireball, but we also probably know that, well, you're safe if it's blocked, so it kind of does block damage. And then we know the Big Daddy super in this game, that does about 60% life. Very powerful in this game, right? Let's look at this a little bit more though, especially when you're coming at it from this standpoint of, oh, CVS1 was dumb because all level ones juggled. That's actually not true, right? Ryu can't super fireball. His super fireball doesn't juggle, okay? Let's say, so we know it's actually more of a versatile super, right? It combos from very far away, blah, blah, combo, or to beat other fireballs, right? Even if we're to think, well, his Super Hurricane Kick juggles, right? Well, to be honest, its hitbox is not very generous in this game, right? But we do know that the Shinchoryuken juggles, right? Oh my goodness, that's a lot of guys. That's some big damage, right? I guess I messed up these clips, but even a level 2, man, do you really want to waste your super on that? I'm sorry, the clips were in the wrong order. That's the product. If you don't donate to the channel, that's the production value you're going to get. Even a DP in the corner, guess what? Yeah, that's not comboing to Super Hurricane Kick. But we do know we have things like DP to Super Dragon Punch. And that actually does, on a standing opponent mid-screen, this is not actually as easy as it looks. It actually is a little specific. You kind of got a little slight micro walk forward. But we do know that's a lot of damage. What was that, like 70% damage, 80% damage? That hurts, right? Now let's look at a character like Ken, right? Well, we had level 3 Show Your Upper, right? What do you think that did? Maybe about 40%? Level 3 Shinryuken? Oh, geez. 35, 40%. Again, not very big, right? But he does have the super hurricane kick, but again, not even that powerful. What is that? Again, 40, 45, maybe? Not a super powerful super in this game, right? Let's continue to watch. However, though, in the game, one of the narratives of the game, all these level 1s juggle, that is Ken. Ken's level 1s all juggle, right? From like everything, all his supers juggle. We could even do that. Level. Well, we know if we're doing level 1, that means he's automatically going to be pretty viable in this game in SNK Gro, which was actually played quite a bit in this game competitively, right? It was not just C Gro, right? Again, if we're thinking about just CVS1 compared to CVS2, where you mainly pick A Gro, K Gro, C Gro, right? Those are the main three, right? Vary sometimes, N Gro, whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, God, maybe parry. Oh, God, almost never S Gro. CVS1 is a game where both grooves got regular play. You can already say that's already more balanced, right, than CVS2, right? Because some characters took advantage of the system of so many level 1 supers could juggle, right? So again, we have here, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we can take the character to the corner, right? You see, so we did that much damage. That got to about the R right there. And if we're mid-screen right here, we got the super, boom, boom. So that's a little bit more. That still took a level 3, right? So would we waste it on that, right? I don't know. But we do know the level 3. So what I'm getting at right there is we can already see these two characters have distinctive uses for their super, okay? One of the narratives of the game of that, all level 1s juggle, all this kind of thing, blah, 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 actually is not actually true. And yet, if we look at that, don't both of these characters look kind of special? Ryu has two pretty weak supers damage-wise, but they have versatility. Now, the Shin Shoryuken in the game, it does do a lot of damage, and it's so much damage that you are inclined almost sort of to like, I got these kind of versatile supers, but I also have one of the most powerful supers in the game that is a level 3. Do I want to save for that specific super? Now, because of that, Ryu might not be as strong of a character if you were to pick S Gro, right? His level 1s are still useful, but I don't always have access to this fear of the Super Dragon Punch. And remember, even if you don't use a move, it is effective. If you know that he always has a level 3 stocked, right? Although maybe he is not as effective at Ken. Ken at level 1, he has all these different kind of versatile usages, right? Let's say. Ryu at level 1, not quite as versatile. But if he's at level 3, you're like, fuck. He does have Super Fireball. If I jump, oh man, DP, that could do a lot. If I try to roll, if he tags me a couple times into sweep, well, that does a lot, right? They have different strengths, right? Ryu is probably potentially stronger in a groove like C, right? I also want to show something else here, which you might not know. Let's say, and apparently this isn't known because, one of the guys that posts on the channel, he didn't seem to know this. So again, if you ever learn anything new, donate to the channel. So here's an example of something, right? Say if I were to do a level 3 right here, right? Guess what? That didn't go through that, right? Let's say if I do a level 1 super hurricane kick right here, right? Watch this. I go through it, right? Now, I could have just DP'd, but watch this argument I'm going to give you. Let's see if I were to play CVS2. I do a level 3. Oh, well, God, I don't even have to, I don't have to anticipate the fireball. I can actually use the level 3 almost as like a real reversal. But let's watch this too. And remember, I said the super hurricane kick is very badly designed in CVS2, right? Well, if we're going to do a super hurricane kick, level 1, I get hit. Now, do you realize how retarded that is when I'm talking about characters actually feeling special? So CVS2, what they did is there's almost this sort of arbitrary, let's say for supers across the entire game, right? Level 1s do this much invincibility. Level 2s do this much invincibility, and they progressively get more and more. Whereas if you were playing and it's just arbitrary across the board, I'm not aware of any character in the game that is different. Level 1 does this much invincibility, level 2 does this much invincibility, level 3, and they, steadily goes up or whatever what we're talking about, right? But CVS1, do you want to know what it was? Generally speaking, yes, a level 3 was a little bit more invincible than a, level 1. Or level 3 was generally more invincible than a level 1. But the moves were still designed that they had a real purpose. It was not some sort of homogenization. So I want to go back, see if you can appreciate what I'm saying. What do we know about Ryu, right? What I was showing here. Super Fireball, right? Now, I can't bullshit. If I'm not using my Super Fireball like a Super Fireball, the move isn't actually invincible like that, okay? I have to actually use it to beat your Fireball. I can't bullshit and be like, oh, I'm invincible too while I'm about to shoot it, right? It's my Super Fireball. So it's used to go through a Super Fireball. It's also used in long combos, kind of thing like that. Just like the Super Hurricane kick, right? It's not that strong in this game, but guess what? It actually has a little bit of invincibility, despite even being a level 1. Because you know what? There's actually that sort of thought process that went into this game, right? And it's like, okay, here's this level 1 safe dragon punch. Let's think of it as a safe dragon punch. Now, it doesn't, his head isn't invincible, so you can't use it as a jump. And you're like, okay, so this move actually, although it's his juggle move in the game, it doesn't juggle that well. Not like Ken, right? But it is sort of a quotation marks, let's say, quotation marks, safe dragon punch. If the guy doesn't attack me and I'm trying to do it versus poke, a little bit of block damage and I'm safe. Where we know in the game in CVS2, what happens? Well, the move is actually, the stronger level you do the move, although it gets more and more invincibility, the move gets more and more punishable. Who the fuck fact checked this game, proofread the game? I don't fucking know. But do you see what I'm getting at here? That these supers actually feel special and thought out. Yeah, maybe Ken doesn't have as strong as a level 3 as Ryu, but guess what? He has more versatile usages for his, right? Ryu is like, wow. These moves actually have a thought process to them. It's incredible compared to CVS1, to be honest with you. So let's go back to this again. Let's show this. I want to show an example too when I'm talking about S-Gro, right? And how supers feel special. So let's say a character like, I know I used the example of Yori. I use the example of Yori of a character that has something that let's say is busted, broken with the 8 wine glass super, right? And the devil's advocate for that is that, well, guess what? It actually finally made the 8 wine glass super effective. Because guess what? Even if you could charge as fast as you could in CVS2, as you can in this game, if the 8 wine glass super functioned like it did in CVS2, it wouldn't matter. The move wouldn't be effective, right? It's because the move is slow in this game, hard to get through in this game. Yeah. It's not impossible to roll through it, but you have to time it. And I guess if you have computer-like timing, like I showed, if you have computer-like timing, you could actually try to jump through the explosion. Not as realistically humanly possible, but I suppose computer timing, it's there. But you could still roll through it as a human. But the move becomes so much more effective in SNK Gro, right? And it actually gives you a chance to show off the game. And it gives you a narrative. Guess what? You're showing off something special about the game that you can't get in anything else. And the narrative is mostly what Yori is doing. It isn't that great when it's not something like CVS2, when you're like roll canceling, right? Now, of course, some roll cancels are better than others, right? You know what I mean? You say, oh man, roll cancel electricity. People talk about that. But generally, when you're speaking about roll canceling, I would say more often than not, when you talk about the narrative of a game like CVS2, you don't say roll cancel electricity. You would say roll canceling. Now, if someone went to mention CVS1, what do they often mention? They often mention something a little bit more specific about the game. Something that not everyone can do. You're like, oh man, Yori's 8 wine glass trap in CVS1 is so stupid, right? But devil's advocate, right? Devil's argument, whatever you want to call it, guess what? That's kind of special. And you know what too? Guess what? He's always doing the level 3, generally speaking, right? Now you do have the level 1 maiden masher, which is, a pretty good anti-air in the game. And you could say is also well designed from the fact that his Dragon Punch is somewhat suspect against higher priority attacks in the air. But then he has level 1 Maiden Masher, which is a pretty good Dragon Punch, right? But generally speaking, I say when you think about it, or you think about level 3s. So that already beats the argument of that, oh, everyone only does level 1s, because guess what? Is Ryu's Shin Shoryuken a level 1? No, it's not. Is Yori's 8 Wine Glass Super a level 1? No, it's not. Now, let's look at a character, then another character that might abuse, let's say, SNK Gro like Mai. Well, guess what? She had this super in the game, and it was kind of slow, so it's actually, once she gets away from you and she's running away, with infinite level 1s, this can be a little bit harder to run away from, to roll through or anything like that, right? Try to roll through that, oh God. So if she gets you away and then she's running away, kind of a little bit hard, more annoying than you would think, but it's also something that shows you it's specifically annoying in SNK Groove. Because if you were in C Groove, would you really, quotation marks, waste your super to do that? Just like I said, the devil's advocate argument, you play Iori in SNK Groove in this game. Even if you pick C Groove and you have a level 3, would you really 8 Wine Glass super? Ever? I would say probably 99% of the time, no. Because it specifically becomes useful because of the SNK Groove, right? And of course, to go to my super, hers, unlike Ryu, her super fireball actually juggled. She had a level 3. Sorry. Made a little bit of execution error there. It happens, right? And she can even have to combo with that, right? So what I'm getting at too is, again, remember that characters in CVS1 felt more special. The main narrative of the game is not role canceling. Now I know that people say, well, what about K-Groove? I understand there's K-Groove, okay? That doesn't change the fact that the main narrative of the game is role canceling, okay? And I know the one guy posts on my channel a lot, and I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel that way, right? But that doesn't change that that's the main narrative of the game. It doesn't change the way that role canceling changes pokes, the way that you play neutral, all this kind of stuff. Now, whether or not that's fun for you, I'm not arguing what is fun for you. I don't control what you enjoy. Just like we know there are some psychos that harass me and beg me for pictures of my poop. I would assume not everyone likes poop. I think that's disgusting. Okay, please stay away from me. Maybe you're like, Clayton, are you metaphorically saying that roll cancels are shit? Yes, I am. Roll cancels are absolutely retarded. But, again, CVS1, I think you can tell there's more thought into it. There's not this sort of arbitrary, oh, well, this is my level 3. The game is better designed than you think. And that's why I say, I think if you actually look at the game objectively, one of the main problems is really just that the game has less. In CVS2, more is better. There's more stuff in CVS2. And even picking EX My here in this clip here, with the game already feeling pretty lacking in general, I think that the EX characters, from some perspective, you could say, if you're playing a game like King of Fighters, obviously there's a lot of different EX characters, and because you can't put that many moves into a character, right? Without characters starting to become a different shade of gray, right? So that is a good argument for a game like King of Fighters. But when you take a game like CVS1, the characters are pretty dull. I think most people would agree. And that the EX characters, although I guess from a certain perspective, you could say are a sort of cheap way to get more depth out of the game, to put more thought process, to not give every character everything, because the game is kind of archaic in terms of, maybe I shouldn't say archaic, just lacking really. Not every Kyo can't even do his up kicks when he has fire punches, right? In that aspect, I do think that is a legitimate problem probably of CVS1. And God, even a character like, what is EX Cammy, fucking has a, I think she can't even cannon drill in every mode, but one mode she has a fucking cannon spike or dive kick. I think that is a problem for the game. It would be interesting. I wonder how the game would be affected if there was no EX characters and every character was just, that their total toolkit in one. And, you know, again, people say, oh, yeah, but you could pick level 1 characters and, you know, level 1 characters were so powerful. And, you know, you can say that, but guess what? People still pick level 2. Not everyone picks level 4 when they were playing the game, right? Do most people pick level 4? No, they don't. Do people pick level 3? Rarely, right? But that's just a small portion of the cast. The majority of the cast got used in CVS1, was viable, right? I mean, you could perhaps make an argument, and I guess I'd have to think about it more deeply because the game only did get played for a year. It would be curious if there were no EX characters, if that changed the meta, actually thinking about it, because say we have a character like EX Kim here, right? You know, that was definitely a coin toss who people wanted to pick, right? Because you have Kim, you have like Air Super, and you have Switch Stance and all this kind of stuff. But if you want to pick EX Kim, Kim could juggle into the triple split kick in the air, Kusajin, right? I think that's the name of the move, right? And so some people are like, oh, God. And they're like, regular Kim is a more versatile character, but EX Kim has the better B&B combo, right? So, I mean, I guess that'd be kind of curious. And of course, there's also the thing that if you hold down 2 buttons, I think, when you play the game and then press start, it puts it into the everyone can pick 2 characters instead. I don't know how that would change the meta. I guess I'd have to think about it. But, you know, again, in you know, general, I would say that EX characters, not totally against them in King of Fighters because, again, you can only have so much in a character. But in this game, I think the characters are so lacking, it's not that great, to be honest with you. And even, you know, I've talked about if I were to make my own Street Fighter game, would I ever have EX characters? And to be honest, I think that it would be hard to justify having an EX character. You know, I think a character like Dalsum, I think, might be hard to, especially like a modern idea of Dalsum, because he is quite different than if you think about more traditional Dalsum. That might be a character, if I was ever making a Street Fighter, that I would have to try to design in a way to see if I would have to put in an EX Dalsum to make the game competitive. That'd probably be a pretty good challenge to see, could I make a single Dalsum, or would I have to put in an EX Dalsum, right? Even Chun-Li potentially could be a character that could be a little bit iffy for that, but I think Chun-Li, you could probably get away without having an EX Chun-Li if I was making a Street Fighter game, but, you know, anyway. Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly comment, share. What timing? Who's messaging me? Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly comment, share, support the channel if you want to. Appreciate it. Thanks. The end.